Hello guys, this is Trim Talks, Sharp Feds, Sharp Minds, and today we have Bill Omondi. Let's talk. Hello.
Yeah.
So who is Bill Omondi?
Who's Bill Omondi? Okay, so I can define Bill Omondi in two ways. Personally, of course, just a young guy who is trying to figure it out in life. Yeah. Professionally, I wear many hats, but the two that I'd want to probably put out, number one, I'm the CEO of TDC, which is an organization for young people, basically to express themselves. Number two, I'm also a consultant for many business corporates that deal with issues of sustainability. So Bill Omondi can be defined in those two. But over and above, I'm also, a brother, a friend, big brother, all those things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I wear all those hats.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Right.
So talking about young people. So imagine a 22-year-old who is in uni or has graduated and they don't know what to do. What would you advise, or what are some of the opportunities that they can take in this current generation?
No, I think the beauty about where we are right now is that anything you're passionate about, there's always a way to monetize it truthfully. And it's, we're living in a generation that is, not very conventional in how people do things and make money. So, traditionally you had to do medicine, engineering, law, and so on and so forth. But now, you could ideally be anything, as long as you're passionate. So for me, it's more that 22-year-old, what are they passionate about? And the other question is, how can they monetize it? So they probably have a skill. They're probably good at something. So it's definitely an open world for all, and they can't miss what to do.
Okay. Talking about leadership.
Yeah.
What makes a good leader?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one. What makes a good leader? Number one, leadership, I think, is about influence.
Influence.
So there's that aspect of, can you be able to influence people? But more so, if you contextualize leadership in a better way, it's about impact. So those two things, influence and impact. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, they'll always ask, what did this leader do for me? So what impact did you leave behind? And, what influence did you have to people to, change their mindset, to, shape how they think, to shape how they see things. Yeah, and basically to help them maneuver life from your point of view. So leadership, I think, can bring those two things, impact and influence.
The impact that you make on people.
The impact that you're making and how you influence people, positively or negatively. I mean, leadership goes both ways. Yeah, there are leaders who, they want to take people to war. At the same time, there are leaders who, are helping, citizens, communities. So leaders exist in very different aspects, but for me, it's always about impact and leadership and influence. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, of course, to be where you are, you encountered challenges in life and stuff. So what's one lesson that failure has taught you? Or do you have like a story?
Right. That's a good thing. So I think one thing I've always learned, number one, is that failure is good. Failure is good. Like you have to fail. You have to fail. And like they say, fail very fast, rise up and move. So failure is not a bad thing. So I think that's one big lesson I've learned, because so many people are afraid to fail.
So many people are afraid to fail.
Yeah, but the only way you learn, is you have to fail a rise up and, keep doing your thing. So I think that's one lesson I can talk about. I've had my fair share of failures, but generally, I think I've learned some of the biggest lessons from failures. Again, there's a point you get to in life where the only way you learn is failure. Like there are no teachers in this adult part of life. There are very few people who will show you the way. So sometimes the only way you have to learn is to fail. So I think that's one very interesting lesson that I've learned over time. So I look forward to when I'm going to fail next. and rise up from it and learn and move. So that's an interesting lesson I have.
Interesting.
Yeah. But also there's a lot of discipline that comes with it. I think for you to get where you are, you have to master some art of discipline. So with every failure comes that learning angle of how do I become disciplined at it. So if I can think about maybe a specific scenario that I failed. So there's a friend of mine, one of my good friends. We were doing some business together.
Yes.
Back then, and it was, I think, post-COVID. So we really marshaled up all the savings that we had because COVID was a really tough time. And we got a good friend, I think, was running like a joint, like an eatery joint for drinks and so on and so forth. So we were supplying water, funny thing. So, we got into it, and because we wanted, to really become big in the business, we kept supplying. We didn't even have contract. It was just like a gentleman's agreement. So eventually, I think we started supplying, we were being paid, and, we were really happy. But then, I think like 2 months into it, they just kept asking for more supplies. So, we were not seeing the checks coming anymore. So eventually, I think after like a whole month and a half of supplies, the business was more like going down. So this guy was unreachable. We were not getting our money. We had already supplied, and we even wanted to take legal channels, but remember we didn't have no contract. It was more like gentleman's agreement and stuff. And remember, this is post-COVID, so we were really broke. So that's all the money we had probably. And that business went under. So from that, it's really taught us an important lesson on, doing things and doing things right. So I think that's one recent example of a failure that, we look back and say, yeah, we failed. We didn't do things right. We probably were in a hurry or excited. I don't know. Yeah, but later on, we learned the right way to do business. So it's part of a learning process, really. But of course, it was worth a few hundreds of thousands. So it's an expensive lesson as well.
Yeah. So failure sharpens you.
Failure sharpens you. In many ways, you didn't know. Yeah, but so it's not necessarily a bad thing, really. Yeah.
So would you rather stay motivated or disciplined?
Would I rather stay motivated or disciplined? Discipline any day.
Why?
Discipline any day. Because, beyond motivation, even when you're supposed to, go out and do things, motivation keeps the hope alive and gives you the idea that, something better is always on the way. Yeah. But beyond that, when the opportunity now opens, it's discipline that carries you through. So I think discipline will carry you through many things that motivation won't. So for me, I'd rather stay disciplined 101 times.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see, like you are, what's it called? CEO of Debate Circle.
Yeah.
When did you see yourself becoming a CEO?
Well, again, I'm not big on titles, to be honest. Yeah, I know I'm CEO of the Debate Circle, which is a a strong brand for young people that's coming up and growing. But I didn't really envision, myself with, the titles and so on. For me, it's just the passion of what I do and what I run, and the impact that it has on all these young people. That for me speaks out more than the title. So I'm happy to continue doing the same, and hopefully there's a lot more, people that through the brand will grow into it and carry it on. I mean, I want to be here forever, but the whole idea is that how are we building the capacity for young people to take over? So hopefully we have a lot more CEOs from the debate circle, courtesy of the program that we run. So I think that's, for me, it's just the passion of what the work comes with.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it, honestly.
Being impactful to the society.
Impact again. Yeah.
Impressive. So talking about debate.
Yeah.
Would you rather win, like, let's say, what was your funniest debate you've ever attended?
Ever attended?
Yeah.
Interestingly, I think it was the presidential debate.
Ooh. Presidential debate.
Presidential debate. That was 2022? I think so, yeah, 2022. Presidential debate.
How did you go?
Well, it's just how you're in a room full of a lot of leaders. But most importantly for me, I think it's how the entire world comes to a moment where everyone wants to hear what these two people have to say. So it's more like a defining moment for leadership in our country, which is interesting because you want to hear them talk about policies, what they will do, what they will not do. But on the other side also, the interesting thing is that not everything they say in a debate is reality. They'll say fancy things.
Okay.
They'll debate strongly, but eventually what they implement is totally different. So at the presidential debates, I think one of the most interesting encounters I had was about I had access to the back room where the leaders were being prepped.
VIP.
Yeah, the VIP. And I could see exactly how, they were also tensed. You see the way you normally see these people talk in front of masses, and you imagine, these people, they have it. They have it all together. It's never the case. So I was seeing, the president behind there with his advisors, going through the script. Remember, you have to start like this, you have to say this. And, you could look at their face. Of course, back then he was not president here, but you could look at their face and, just see someone who, they had their own set of butterflies in their stomach, yeah? So it's just looking at it from a realistic perspective that these people are also human. They also have fears.
Of course.
But, it's how you go about your fears that eventually determines the outcome. And I think I was reading something about what President Obama was also saying some time back, that every time before he goes on stage, you see him walking out, he looks super confident, but every single time he always has butterflies just before his name is called, yeah? So I looked at that moment and, it gave me some courage that regardless of what you really want to do, people have done it before.
Oh, yeah.
And, those big names you hear, they're just people like us. And they also have their own fears, their own shortcomings. And, how they mastered them is what really made the difference. So that was a really profound experience and encounter at the presidential debate back then. So it was an interesting one.
So talking about debates, who is a world big political guy would you want to be on a debate with? And why?
Okay, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. But lately, I've been really watching debates of the UK Parliament.
UK?
Yeah. I think the UK Parliament has, it's really a debate house compared to what you see in our Kenyan Parliament. But let me speak from a local perspective. I think someone like Sifuna, Sifuna he's a good debater. I like how he masters his concepts before he appears on any talk show, any debate. So that's one debate I'm really happy to engage with. It might not necessarily be to debate. I mean, if we have different opinions, I definitely want to debate against him and just see how he thinks, how he argues out his points, and so on and so forth. But locally, I think that's one person I could be able to pick. Internationally, I'd really want to be in that UK, parliament, just seeing government and opposition going head to head, like on national issues. Yeah, that's one place I'd really want to be. And the South African parliament, of course, for comedy though.
Yeah, it's funny there.
South Africans are funny. So yeah, those are three key people or places I'd want to be around the world of debates. Yeah.
So let's say we are in a debate, me and you. Yeah?
Yeah. I'll beat you.
Like, what's that best topic you can beat me in?
Well, bring any topic.
Any?
Bring
Okay, let's say
bring any topic.
talent or hard work.
Talent or hard work. Okay,
Yes.
you pick a side.
I say hard work.
You go hard work.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Me, I'll go talent. So you tell me, why hard work?
I can tell you by giving you example. See, like a person like Ronaldo,
Yeah.
is where he is because of hard work.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
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 Like he had to put in the work, discipline to be able to be where he is.
Yeah.
And for talent, I mean, like you can have talent, but if you don't put anything in it,
Yeah.
no energy, no nothing,
Yeah.
there's nowhere you're going.
Interesting. I think I'll go talent. And you know why? Because I think hard work has a big aspect of privilege that if you really don't have, then regardless of how hard you work, it doesn't really work. Think about it. When you're in school, yeah, you're being told, wake up and study and, work hard. So work hard for you. You defined it. I have to go to school. I have to read my books. I have to, get there early. I have to do my assignments. So think about it from a point of, there's a young person who they don't have electricity at home. They don't have books. They don't even have food to eat that night, or a shelter. So in that case, tell me how hard work is going to help that person. I mean, there's a sense of privilege that you must have even for you to work hard. There's a sense of, hope that you have to look forward to. When you wake up every single day and say, okay, let me keep doing it. There's a sense of privilege that if you don't have, even hard work doesn't make sense, And that way for me, sometimes they're talented and talent, breaks all those boundaries. I mean, if you're talented, whether you're sleeping, in a mabati shelter, the talent is yours. There are people who can play football better than Ronaldo. The only thing they don't have is opportunity, but talent-wise, they're super. So in this case, I'll always want to say that hard work, there's a privilege that if you don't have, even hard work doesn't make sense. But there's a talent when you have, regardless of the situations. When the opportunity presents itself, it will always beat whoever is working hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during on a debate, like when you lose a debate, do you feel like, but you're still right? What goes through your mind?
I think in debate, like we would normally tell the kids, in debate you don't lose. There's a winner and a learner. It's two things. You're either learning from someone or you're winning. So like in this case, just with what we've had, someone probably has learned something. So regardless of who is quote unquote declared winner, you've learned something from it. So in debates, you never really take it personal. You always endeavor to learn from your opponent. And I think that's the important take home. So yeah, you walk out of there as having learned something. And probably the world would, looks different every time you walk off a stage of debate because of the perspectives from the other person that you've been able to learn. So so you really don't count it a loss.
Yeah.
You're always learning something. Yeah.
It's a win.
It's a win. It's always a win somehow. It's a win-win.
But at the end of the day, your opponent is carrying a trophy home.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not feeling bad.
No, there's always that feeling. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a competition, yeah. So there's always the feeling of, what am I getting? What are they getting? Yeah. But eventually, like they say, you win some, and you learn a lot more. So,
failure.
You learn from it, and hopefully you also eventually win some. So it's always a good balance. Yeah.
How does a sharp haircut affect your confidence?
No, to be honest, the way they say, haircut, it's like the makeup for guys. And I think it's also psychological. Anytime I don't have a haircut, I just feel some type of way. So I always can't wait, but for me, in fact, I always plan the way my events are coming. If I know I have major events coming up, I have to get that haircut because it just changes everything about how you look. And that's one thing I like about having a haircut. So yeah, it's a major confidence booster.
Confidence booster.
Yeah, always. So anytime,
any day,
haircut does it. Yeah. Can I also ask you a question?
Yes.
How do you feel when you give someone a good haircut and they love it?
Of course.
How does it make you feel?
I feel like him.
You feel like him?
Yeah. Like, my what's it called? My passion, or like what I love the most with haircuts is when I can make people smile. Like, you can be feeling down. Then after the haircut, you are a different person.
Nice.
So changing people's emotion makes me feel, like it's amazing stuff to do.
Good.
Yeah.
Last question. Who's the most famous person you've given a haircut?
Sheesh. Most famous?
Yeah, other than me. Yeah.
Most famous person I've given a haircut is here in Kenya, I'll say Ben Sol.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ben Sol or the entire Kodong clan?
Kodong clan. Kodong clan.
Okay. Shout out.
Shout out Kodong clan.
Yeah. That's nice.
Actually, I knew Kodong clan through you.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah. Who inspired you to start shaving?
Or who inspired me to start cutting hair?
Yeah.
Sheesh. So I've been cutting hair since when I was like a little kid, like 11 years. I'll say my uncle. Okay. My uncle is the one who inspired me. I was like a little kid. Of course, like as black kids, we grow around the barbershop.
Yeah.
We go to the barbershop every day. Not like every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the times.
Almost every other time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like my uncle was like the best barber in town. Like his nickname was Master. You see, like everyone has to get a cut from Master. Master is the best barber in town. And, so many kids, I say boys, they got influenced with their uncles a lot.
I see.
Yeah. So for me, we were like 3 cousins. So when we close school, we usually go to our uncle's barbershop. We chill there. We end up cutting ourselves hair and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, I was the worst out of those 3.
Out of all those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can be given clients, but me, no. Because they say,
your skill was not good yet.
Yes. So I had to put in the work.
Okay.
And of course, I beat them eventually.
Okay.
So I'll say my uncle's the one who inspired me the most to start cutting hair.
So what's one of the craziest things that have happened to you while giving a haircut?
The craziest?
Yeah.
I say it was sometimes back when I was starting.
Yeah.
I was little. I say, these clippers. You might be like trying to shave hair here under the ear.
Yeah.
Like over the ear.
Yeah.
And then you cut.
Oh, you cut someone?
Yeah, it was bleeding a lot. And,
okay.
But the guy was chill because the haircut was nice.
Have you ever given a wrong haircut? Like, someone wanted something and you shaped them a whole different way?
No.
Okay. So you're quite sharp with the styles?
Yeah.
Interesting. I remember in when you're growing up, the worst scenario of, your hair being cut is when electricity goes out mid-haircut. And, back then, when it goes out, you don't know when it's coming back.
Yes.
So you could easily end up in school the next day with a wrong haircut, and that was so embarrassing.
Yeah, you'll be cooked.
Yeah.
Everyone will be clowning you. Do you think confidence is built or people are born with?
Nah, you definitely build confidence.
Really?
Definitely.
How?
I mean, have you ever seen a little child? When they're kids, most of the time, it's either two things. They don't know a lot about the world, yeah? So they care about very few things. So you can see a kid walk to where the president is standing up there. And then they don't care, they don't mind that everyone is looking at them or there's a big audience. But there's a grown man who, cannot even stand on that stage and, talk to people.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of perceptions that shape your confidence, and a lot of it is how you see yourself. Yeah. So when you see yourself and think, oh my God, what will they say? How do they think of me? When your insecurities are manifesting in front of people, then, you lose your confidence. But when you're confident about who you are, what you do, and basically how you think of yourself, then, you master confidence. But you have to learn it, I think, at some point.
Right.
You have to. Very few people are, I can say, naturally confident. There's something they had to learn, or someone had to play a role for them to get where they are.
So, last question, yeah? Imagine a younger you sitting on this chair. What's that one advice he'll give you, younger you?
My younger self? Be yourself. Just, keep doing what you love. And keep being real. I think that's what I tell my younger self. But always keep an open mind and learn as much as you can. That's it.
Is your haircut? What do you think about your haircut?
Very nice. 100% Crown Trimz.
You know what just happened here? I'm just transforming from Mr. Mustafa
to Mufasa.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Spice.
Looks good. Yeah, now we are ready to conquer the world.
Now you're a sharp boy.
Sharp man.
Sharp man, not a boy.
Sharp man. Okay.